Man, companies just don't care about cybersecurity anymore. Hold on. They might care about cybersecurity, or they might not. But the truth of the matter is, us cybersecurity engineers and team members are just not looking at it the right way. Allow me to explain it. Welcome to the channel, and stay tuned for some of the best cybersecurity information out there on YouTube today. Over the course of my years throughout cybersecurity, I cannot tell you how many times I have heard that companies do not care about cybersecurity. Let me tell you this, companies do care, but they look at it like it's an expense. Because the truth of the matter here is that unless you are a service provider inside of cybersecurity, meaning you're an MSP, or sell services such as security services, penetration testing, threat hunting, or any of those services out there, then actual cybersecurity itself is just an expense on the books. So you might be saying that this expense is just something that's quick and easy. The company makes millions of dollars. They should be just as serious about fixing the problems as you are. The truth of the matter is, that expense that you're spending or trying to justify it for might need labor. It might need actual people to do the work. It might cause other problems and other issues. Maybe now it needs to become an audit criteria where it needs to be audited as well. And yes, this is the normal processes of cybersecurity that you need to go through. But the truth is, does your department even have the budget for that? Why doesn't the higher ups and the board just give the budget downhill? Well, let me get into that specifically. Security is an expense. And as stated before, there is no ROI, return on investment. What exactly do I mean by that? And this is probably the best analogy that I can give you. Because security is an actual expense, you need to look at it outside of the box. Now, I know you've heard work outside of the box, work outside of the box. Just get to the point where you're working outside of the box. But see, you need to look at it from the perspective of the actual CEO, the board, the financials, the money makers, okay? And say, okay, why can't they see this cost? Why can't they see that this just fixes this problem and protects them from all this risk? Well, let me explain it this way. You have a house, and you may not have a house, but let's say you had a house. If you had a house or looking to buy a house, are you even thinking about putting all the security tools and assets inside of it? Do you have a firewall? Do you have doors, locks, badge access, security cameras all around your house? Or are you just looking to buy in a nice neighborhood so you don't have to worry about any of that? Well, maybe that's how the CEO feels. We have a nice company. We have good security members who are watching. We don't need all this extra add-ons. We have the team members who are going to do it for us. Now, let's go back to your house. Let's say inside of your actual house that your security should have extra door locks. You should put in a firewall inside your house. Secure your cameras. Have a camera watching another camera. Honestly, I would love to get a shed and put in a unified bad access to that shed. But can I justify that expense? Is it just a nice to have, cool thing to have? Probably. But it's just money going out the door. Can I afford that? Can I budget for that right now? No, I cannot. So being able to break it down where you are the CEO of something and look at it another way can help your mindset understand why the CEO, the board, the financial advisors are not making the jump to just give you the funding. Because remember, you are an expense. So everything you do needs to be justified. Continuing with the house analogy, let's say your actual house itself that you secured in its current state. Let's say it's in its current state. You bought a normal house, okay? This normal house, you had door locks, and you added probably 1 or 2 cameras because you're in security. Let's say you were out traveling that day. When you were out traveling, you all of a sudden got an alert on your phone that your Ring camera or your doorbell camera, I use Unify, so my Unify camera, went ahead and caught the actual detection. Somebody broke the lock, broke the camera, and broke in. They got right in, they stole your kid's PS5, shuffled around your kids' rooms a little bit looking for other toys and items, and stole some Christmas presents. The Grinch came through and took it all. Then left, and nobody was harmed. Now, your family, when you get home, is going to be instantly concerned. Your family is going to say, we need to move. This is a bad neighborhood. This is, terrible place to live in. Our house got broken in. The kids' room was gone through. All the things were shuffled around. Everything's gone through. What if they come back? And all this fear and anxiety will then flood into your family members. This is exactly how the clients feel after an attack or an incident that goes public in your company. And this is why, when there is an incident, funding comes. Because if your family was all over you saying, we need to move, we need to move, we need to move, you would find funding to make sure that issue does not happen again. Now, maybe you cannot move. Maybe you cannot fix that specific flaw of somebody coming back and attacking you again, going into the house again. Maybe you can't fix that. And there are times where you just have to deal with an APT. And that is what we're talking about, because now that robber becomes your APT. So, you will do whatever you can to assert the necessary controls to make sure that APT is caught, detected, monitored, and taken care of instantly the second the APT comes back. And that is how businesses look at it. That is how your CEOs look at it. That is how the board members look at it. And that is how all the funding comes and why the funding comes after an incident. Now, this may be a hard concept to understand. It's maybe hard to understand that you're being unreasonable and you're setting unreasonable expectations, and the CEO might not be as dispassionate CBA calculators. Okay? Meaning that they're just people who only count money and that's it. But the truth of the matter is, this is not justification for why the business is not making the expense. Instead, this is to give you a mindset so that you can understand why you're not getting funding. Because dwelling on why can't we just fund XYZ will stress you out so much you'll leave the industry. And trust me, it took me 6 years to realize that this analogy is the easiest way for me to understand it. Might not work for you, but I feel like it's a basic analogy that a lot of people can relate to. So are you being unreasonable? Are your expectations too high? Well, listen. There are times when we are unreasonable because we only know our way. There are times when we are right and unreasonable at the same time. And then there are times when we are reasonable and we can say, I told you so. And this is probably the best. So what you need to do as a cybersecurity engineer or someone inside of cybersecurity who realizes that there is a flaw that your bosses, your financial advisors, whatever, won't find money for. You need to document the risk. And not just a simple email or complain to your boss. No, you need to write a formal report on the flaw. Do research on the flaw. Set up a PowerPoint if you need to. And get into an example of why we need to fix this. Because if you're right, and we all know majority of the times we are right, but if you're right, then Murphy's Law will come true. And then that is when your moment arrives. So, lay that I told you so down and tell them we can now fix it by doing X, Y, and Z. And enjoy your time suffering through that incident because it's going to suck. But enjoy it. Anyway, have a good one. Don't forget to hit the subscribe, and if you like it and want to know more content, let me know.